Well, look, before we do get into these fan questions, I wanted to ask you a question that I've been meaning to ask. We were just talking about the hacksaw with Jim, and on that podcast, Jim told me that Manny Fernandez once took liberties with him in the ring when he was still green. I know that Manny was a West Texas State guy, so I'm sure you were around him quite a bit. What do you think of Manny Fernandez overall, and does that sound like something that he would do to a green guy?
Well, that I don't know. Manny was okay. Again, yeah, he did go to West Texas State. He was a West Texas State guy, but I was never close friends with him. I was very close friends with Jim, and the only one that I think I saw, Jim almost went Fist City in the dressing room with
Matt Bourne.
Yeah. And you know what, Matt Bourne deserved it.
Yeah, I have not heard good things about Matt at all over the years.
Just another guy who was just out for himself.
Now, when it comes to Manny, I have heard positive things about Manny, negative things about Manny. And the thing, with Jim, whenever he's in that position, he's a young guy. So it's like sometimes a guy might be coming at you rough and you're like, okay, is this guy shooting on me? Or like, what are we doing? And when you're young, you're just like, well, whatever. You just go with the punches. As Jim got older, and I'm sure that, same thing for you. It's like as guys are taking liberties, you're like, okay, this guy's trying to push me. So now it's time for me to push back.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever take any liberties with you when you were young, Ted?
No, not that I can think of. I mean, if there were, well, there weren't, because nobody ever did. And one of the reasons is because I'm a guy who grew up in the business, and everybody knew that. Everybody knew that pro wrestling wasn't brand new to me. That I had been watching it since I was 6 years old, and that my dad was a wrestler. And if there was anybody that they should take liberties with, it would be me, because I had more experience than anybody in the ring.
So you were coming in there with respect, and nobody was gonna. And I mean, you had the respect of Terry Funk right out of the gate. All these guys that you're surrounded by.
I was, that's just it. It's like a fraternity. It's like you can come in, but mind your P's and Q's, and do whatever you're told to do. And it's just, that's just it. It's like a private club, and you have to earn it.
It's funny. I hear all these nightmare stories from guys like Jake and Jim and other wrestlers I've been around, where it's like they talk about what it was like coming up in the business and having to kind of deal with. It's almost like being hazed in many ways, or at least treated like an outcast whenever you first come into the business, where essentially you've got to prove yourself. How bad do you want this?
Yeah.
So it's kind of refreshing to hear that, like, nope, didn't happen for you, which is great.
Well, and some of the times, the other thing, especially where Jake and I are concerned, is these older guys that watch guys like Jake and I come in, and again, Jake and I have so much in common. Both of our dads were wrestlers. We grew up in it. We've seen it and did it, practically all our lives. And so the other way you can look at somebody trying to take advantage of you in the ring is they're just trying to take care of themselves. What I'm saying? And that's easy to figure out, especially for Jake and I. And so that's why it never happened much. I can't remember any time that anybody really tried to just bury me in a match.
That's great. So even, the other thing that happens to young guys in wrestling that I've heard about is, okay, maybe you've got the respect of the boys. Like, let's say you've been wrestling for a year or 2 years, and they're like, okay, this kid, he's good. Even then, some veteran wrestlers will try to gobble you up in the ring, meaning just get themselves over in the match, not really give you anything. Nobody ever did anything like that to you?
Well, no. And again, because I was ring savvy. And there's ways to protect yourself from that happening too. So, but no, nobody ever guzzled me.
So
and I can't name any names because I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head. But anybody that did do it, they found out right away that you don't do that.
So obviously, I'm a young wrestler, and there's other people who are listening to this who I'm sure are young wrestlers. Ted, what advice would you give to a young wrestler about how to avoid getting guzzled by their opponent in the ring?
Well, again, it just depends on who that person is because, if you're brand new, if you're a baby wrestler, and you get in the ring, especially if you get in the ring with somebody that's a seasoned vet, you're there for one reason, and that's to make him look good. And so if you're a baby face, then the heel that's the top guy is going to guzzle you by and large. He might give you, probably give you enough to make him mad and then guzzle you. And that to me, that's to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you take a hardened heel like, oh gosh, Killer Carl Cox was one of the greatest heels in my opinion that ever was, and a great guy. Beside that, what's funny, most of the guys that you see in the ring that are heels and real assholes
Mm-hmm.
in real life, they're the nicest guys.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of the baby faces are prima donnas, and it's kind of like, you talking to me? Huh? Yeah, I'm talking to you.